If everyone would please take your seats. Good morning and welcome to the 7th meeting of the House Education Committee. I want to remind everyone to please silence your phone in order to avoid interruptions. Also, if you wish to speak on a bill, please make sure that you've signed in at the sheet to add additional testimony. If members have any comments and there's joining us, let me see where I'm from. I've got to read my stuff here. All right, remote members can be considered present and vote on bills if they're participating from their annex office. If you're participating remotely, but not from your annex office, you can participate in the discussion of the bill, but you will not be counted present and cannot vote. When you join the meeting, you're automatically muted, so if you wish to speak, please unmute. And if you have any questions or comments, please do so in the chat. Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker?
Present.
Representative Banta?
Present.
Representative Bojanowski?
Present.
Representative Decker? Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett? Representative Hart?
Present in the room.
Representative Koenig?
Present in the room.
Representative Lewis? Representative Massey?
Here in the room.
Representative McCool?
Here.
Representative Miller? Representative Gibbons-Prunty?
Here in the room.
Representative Rayburn?
Here in the room.
Representative Scott?
Present in my annex office.
Representative Timoney?
Here.
Representative Tipton?
Here.
Representative Weber? Representative White? Representative Wilner? Vice Chair Riley?
Here.
Chair Huff?
Present. We do have a quorum and duly constituted to do business. We'll begin this morning with House Bill 639, an act relating to school population changes and making appropriation therefor, and declaring that as an emergency as well. If Representative Tipton would please go to the table with your guest as well. And guests and members, make sure that your mic is on so we can hear each of you. Please get started, introduce yourself, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am James Tipton, House District 53.
Jay Ritter with the Kentucky Department of Education.
Good morning. My name is Robin Finney. I'm also with the Kentucky Department of Education.
Madam Chair, we often talk about simple bills around here, and this legislation is actually less than one page long, but it's anything but a simple bill. And let me give you a little background about House Bill 639. We all realize that with the situation with COVID, that we had schools who were experiencing situations where they had a drop in their average daily attendance. Madam Chair, you worked on this a couple years ago, and we based their ADA on the 2018-2019 primary, I believe, or 1920 as I recall. We have extended that up to the point that we're getting ready to get out of COVID, and actually the ADA numbers for 23-24, if I'm correct, are going to be based on our 22-23. Am I correct on that? Yeah, going to be based on our 22-23 numbers. So we may even be exacerbating the differences from some districts that have a lot of growth and from districts that have experienced a loss in students. And I think the fear is, especially for those districts, there might be a physical cliff at the end when we make that adjustment back. House Bill 639 is geared to make a transition period. There are two main components of the bill. One of the components deals with growth. And we have had districts that have had a growth. I believe from then until now, in the largest district, I believe is 11.9% growth. So there is an appropriation of $12,500,000 to address those districts that have growth. There's also the districts who have had loss. And As we looked at this legislation, and I had to make some policy decisions in the bill, if we had compensated every district for every amount of loss they had, based on the current law, we would have been looking at about $39 million for that cost. Current law is found in KRS 157-360. And if you want to reference that, it's subsections 9 and 10 of that.
Motion on the bill.
Be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
We have a motion on the bill by Representative Timoney, a second by Representative Dossett. And we do have a question, or some questions. Representative Dossett.
Thank you. Representative Tipton, this will also benefit our schools that were impacted by the tornadoes. Am I correct? Because we have seen where those students have moved out. We don't know for sure exactly where they have relocated.
Mm-hmm.
This will benefit those school districts as well. Am I correct?
We did not address that specifically. We're just looking at numbers. So obviously, if they've had a decrease in numbers, it would have a benefit for those districts.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, and if you all want to go ahead with the vote, we'll do so.
If nobody has any questions, please proceed, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker? Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski?
Yes.
Representative Decker?
Yes, register my attendance as well. Thank you.
Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett?
Yes.
Representative Hart?
Yes.
Representative Koenig?
Yes.
Representative Lewis? Representative Massey?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miller? Representative Gibbons Prenti?
Yes.
Representative Rayburn?
Yes.
Representative Riley?
Yes.
Representative Scott?
Yes.
Representative Timoney?
Yes.
Representative Tipton?
Yes.
Representative Weber?
Yes.
Representative White? Representative Wilner? Chair Huff?
Yes. House Bill 639 passes with the expression of opinion that the same should pass.
Thank you, Madam Chair,
Thank you.
members of the committee.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. We will continue with House Bill 663, an act relating to financial disclosures of post-secondary education institutions. If Representative McCool would please go to the table, and any guests that you have with you, please join. Also remember to turn on your mics, introduce yourself, and proceed. And there is a committee sub members in your packet. If you want to go ahead and explain that, and we will go ahead and vote on the sub, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bobby McCool, District 97, State Representative. The committee sub just working with the universities kind of changes some dates that's more pliable to them, and also just make some adjustments that way. So, and they got their support. So it's really, the committee sub is really more of the bill.
Second.
We have a motion on the sub by Representative Timoney, a second by Representative Banta. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. It's adopted.
Okay.
Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bill that actually will cost no or very little money at all. I don't think it will cost anything to implement, but it could save millions of dollars if we've seen sometimes when a university may get into some financial difficulties, because it will catch it early. And all it requires is from the president and the chair of the board to sign a statement every year that they're financially stable and provide that documentation. Now, that could happen where a university may, or a college, and anything that falls under the Council of Post-Secondary Education could see some financial difficulties one year, but at least we would know that early, and those adjustments can be made collectively using certainly through the Council of Post-Secondary Education. I have met with, and actually they've been a big part of this, and I'm grateful for the Council of Post-Secondary Education's input, as well as University of Kentucky East Kentucky University, Morehead State University, West Kentucky University, and even Big Sandy Community Technical College, and all support this process. So hopefully, as you know, we've had a incident this past year where we had to come up with $23 million to help out a university that is very needed in our state, and we need to continue doing that, and I hope that we will. But hopefully this will prevent something like this from ever occurring again. And if I could.
We have a motion on the bill by Representative Riley, a second by Representative Timoney. Do we have any questions? Representative Tipton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have some comments. I just want to thank Representative McCool for bringing this legislation forward. He and I have been discussing this issue for quite some time, and as he mentioned, we obviously have the situation with Kentucky State University, and we don't want to have any of our post-secondary institutions get in a situation like this in the future. It does provide them with an added sense of accountability. It places more responsibility on them, and it does give the Council for Post-Secondary Education more authority to go in and make sure there's no issues with any of our other post-secondary institutions. So I appreciate you bringing this forward and fully support the bill. Thank you, Representative McCool.
Seeing no further questions, do you have any further comments?
Thank you, Aaron Thompson, Council on Post-Secondary Education. I will just say this covers the privates also. We license 80 privates. A lot of people don't know that CPE not only coordinates the publics and have some governing powers over the publics, but we have privates. And so this is an issue for higher education in our state. It's not just the publics. We've closed, 2 privates have closed in the last many years. So, Representative McCool, I thank you for this bill. We look forward to working with the legislature to make sure it's enacted correctly.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second on the bill, Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker, Representative Banta,
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski,
Yes.
Representative Decker,
Yes.
Representative Donahue,
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Hart,
Yes.
Representative Koenig, Representative Lewis, Representative Massey,
Yes.
Representative McCool, Representative Miller, Representative Gibbons-Prunty,
Yes.
Representative Rayburn,
Yes.
Representative Riley,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Yes.
thank you, Representative Timoney,
Yes.
Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Weber,
Yes.
Representative White, Representative Wilner, Chair Huff.
Yes. House Bill 663, as amended by proposed House substitute, passes with expression of opinion that the same should pass. Thank you very much. Following our agenda today, we will next hear Senate Bill 9, an act relating to early literacy education and make an appropriation thereof. If Senator West would please come to the table with any guests that you have joining you, and if each individual would introduce themselves for the record, you're free to proceed.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman Huff, for allowing us to present Senate Bill 9. Senate Bill 9 is a companion bill to House Bill 226, and I believe there's committee sub that needs to be.
Yes. Members, there is a committee sub in your packet. If you would please explain the committee sub.
Yes, ma'am. The committee sub basically includes the language from House Bill 93, which includes the Read to Achieve monies and helps protect those. So what you have before you is the same work product that Representative Tipton had, 226 plus 93.
We have a motion on the sub by Representative Timoney, a second by Representative Gibbons-Prunty. Any questions on the sub? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Committee sub is adopted.
Thank you. I'm going to do something a little bit different today than we've done in the past. I'm not going to talk about the bill. This bill has been before this committee several different times over the last 3 or 4 years. The language of this bill has been before this committee already this year, and we have a PowerPoint ready here in case anyone needs more information. It's getting late in the session, so I thought we would just leave a lot of time for questions today. Senate Bill 9 is a culmination of 3 or 4 years of work. And the delay, this is one of those situations where the delay in the process and not getting the bill through the first time, I really think has made this a better bill and a good work product. And it doesn't hurt that if it's passed this year, it may be passed in a year where we actually have money. So that's really, really helpful. But this is not my bill. This is not Senator West's bill. This is a work product of this core group. And if you would, everyone, introduce yourself for the record.
Good morning, Amanda Ellis. I work at the Council on Post-Secondary Education and was formerly at the Kentucky Department of Education.
Mickey Ray, Chief Academic Officer for the Kentucky Department of Education.
James Tipton, State Representative, House District 53.
And we had several other people help along the way, Chuck Truesdale and Joe Burks on Senate staff. But we've taken a deep dive over the last 3 or 4 years to get this bill to where it is. Before I turn it over, just a couple quick things. In my opinion, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but if we as a legislature want return on investment, this bill is the best way to do it. The amount of money we will put in and the return we will get will be incredible. I really think coming out of COVID, we're going to have some really horrible numbers as it pertains to early literacy and reading. This bill is a way, the quickest way to get us back the other direction, going the right way. And then this is a bill about generational change. And it's just a very common sense thing. If kids know how to read by 3rd grade, it changes the trajectory of their life forever. And states book prison beds by their 4th grade reading levels. And so if we have a high reading level by 3rd grade, hopefully we can turn that around and change lives.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion on the bill by Representative Banta, second by Representative Dossett. We do have a question by Representative Bojanowski.
More a comment than a question, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So I teach reading every day that I'm in the classroom, and I wouldn't say desperate, but I'm aching for more training on how to be better at teaching reading. So I'm so grateful for this bill. I'm grateful for the budget, that there may be money to pay for the bill. And I just welcome with open arms an opportunity to become better at my trade, at my profession, through the work of this bill. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could add to Representative Bojanowski's comment, I just want to thank Representative Bojanowski for her work in the last year. She is a dedicated researcher, and she has sent me volumes of information on this subject, and I just want to thank her for her support in getting this legislation to where it is now. We did mention the funding. When I talked about House Bill 226, I mentioned that in the House version of the budget, there was $11 million in each year of the budget. The Senate kept that language in, so they also have the $11 million in each year of the budget. And KDE, as my understanding, is going to commit $10 million from ARPA funding. So we've got a good start on the funding to make this happen, to provide the professional development that our teachers so desperately need, and to set up those coaching models to help improve their skill as teaching in literacy.
If I could, Madam Chair, I would like to echo the comments of Representative Tipton. Representative Bojanowski has worked closely with us, and she is boots on the ground. She works in this area every day and provided a lot of good material for us as the process went along. Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, I want to thank you all for working on this bill. This is of great importance to the future success of the children of the Commonwealth, and I appreciate that, and I hope we see huge results. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker? Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski?
Yes.
Representative Decker?
Yes.
Representative Donahue?
No, ma'am.
Representative Dossett?
Yes.
Representative Hart?
Yes.
Representative Koenig?
Yes.
Representative Lewis? Representative Massey?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miller? Representative Gibbons Prenti?
Yes.
Representative Rayburn?
Yes.
Representative Riley?
Briefly explain my vote. I'd like to thank Senator West and Representative Tipton, Representative Bojanowski. Everybody was involved in this bill. Obviously, we've gone through some difficult times, and we, as Senator West mentioned, reading scores are going to go down. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the way it is. But we've got to do what we can to recover. I'd like to see full-time kindergarten, make sure it's in the budget, and I'd also like to see additional funding for pre-K. It's what we owe our children. Thank you very much. Yes.
Representative Scott?
Pass.
Representative Timoney?
Yes.
Representative Tipton?
Yes.
Representative Weber?
Yes.
Representative White? Representative Wilner? Chair Huff?
Yes. The bill does have a title amendment. Do I have a motion on the title amendment? Motion, Representative Riley, second by Representative Timoney. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Title amendment is adopted. Senate Bill 9 passes with the expression of opinion that the same should pass with the committee substitute and title amendment attached thereto. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And Representative Riley, Representative Riley, Co-Chair Riley, Co-Chair Riley. No, I was going to tell you, you can jump on my bill that does funds kindergarten and preschool. I'll be looking for your name there. Thank you. Senate Bill 151 will be our final measure this morning, an act relating to school breakfast. Senator Howe, if you will come to the table, please. I see you have a guest with you who's sitting in the middle where usually the sponsor sits, but go right ahead.
He is the main part. I'm just kind of.
He's the main part of everything.
Now that you put him in the target like that, I don't know if I need to move over here or anything.
I don't know what I did to deserve this. I don't.
I'll tell you later. No, I'm just teasing. Go ahead, please, and introduce yourselves for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Jason Howe. I'm Senate District for 1st Senate District. I just wanted to get my first time in front of you guys with education here. Appreciate you having me. Representative Riley and I have worked on this, and I'll turn it over to him to explain the bill.
Steve Riley, District 23, House of Representatives. Basically, this is a bill that we passed in the House last year unanimously. It went to Senate committee, it passed committee, and then like many things, it got caught in the quagmire the last few days. Basically, the simple part of this bill is this. It allows our students the first 15 minutes of instructional time in case they get to school late because of bus travel, bad weather, whatever it may be, that they can do a grab-and-go a breakfast and take it to classroom with them for the first 15 minutes of instructional time.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion on the bill by Representative Banta, was it? And a second by Representative Timoney. We do have a couple that would like to speak on this measure. Gay Adelman, Dear JCPS, if you would please come to the table. You're with Chris Rashid? Okay, yes, please. If you are together, that's fine.
And the students that he brought with him, the Mighty Shades of Ebony.
That's fine.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No problem.
run you off.
Morning, guys. Come here.
Introduce yourselves for the record, and you may proceed.
My name is Gay Adelman. I'm with Dear JCPS.
My name is Chris Rashid. I am with Justice League LOU.
Oh, microphone.
My name is Dayuel Hatchett. I'm a 7th grader at W.E.B. Du Bois Academy, and I'm also with Justice League LOU.
Okay. My name is D'Artagnan Hill. I'm in 7th grade, a student at W.E.B. Du Bois Academy, and I'm also with Justice League LOU.
So I'd like to start by just mentioning that this morning, because we live in Jefferson County, we got up and left our house around 6:45. It was still dark out, and along the way I passed a bus of Jefferson County students that was full of students because their morning begins that early as well. And even if they had breakfast at home, by the time they've made that bus ride across town and gotten into their classrooms, even if their bus isn't late, they may still need another breakfast, because I know I've been running around this morning trying to find some food, and I know how hard it is to concentrate when you're hungry like I am right now. So I would like to say that I'm in favor of this bill. Obviously, we're not here to split the baby, but what we really want to be talking about is, how did we get here? And I'm to understand that these students had to wait a year. These teachers had to wait a whole year for this bill to even be heard, just so they can have 15 minutes for kids to eat. So what are we doing that has created an environment that teachers have to advocate for 15 minutes to feed their students, instead of treating them like the professionals that they are and letting them make these types of decisions without being micromanaged to the point where we're having to bring it all the way to the state to beg for this time? Instead, we should be talking about root cause issues. How do we address the amount of time students spend on the bus? How do we adjust their bell schedule so that they're getting appropriate timing for when they learn best and when they perform best? And so, we heard that the charter school bill might be coming out of House A&R committee, but then that meeting's been canceled. So, we want you to understand how these bills harm us, and stop trying to put the same police that killed Breonna Taylor and that exploited our students in our schools with weapons. And I'm going to stop.
Please speak to the bill.
I'm going to stop and let you hear from the students that are impacted by these bills as well. Thank you.
Well, first, I would like to say something. So I'm an educator of 19 years. I've been at 5 different schools, and I've never seen a situation where a student wasn't allowed to bring their breakfast to class or eat during homeroom or first period if they needed to. I understand that there are some schools apparently that won't do that, but at the same time, if that type of behavior is happening in the school system, that speaks to a larger issue. It almost feels like that's symptomatic, but what is the root cause? What is the culture that's, I don't hear that that's being addressed. Also, with regard to, I was thinking about, I love the reading is fine, but I heard something very powerful about the pre-K. Pre-K is so underfunded. That is the essence of what needs to be addressed, not additional professional development of literacy.
Sir, please speak to the bill that you're here to address.
Duly noted. However, this adding breakfast is just putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's really, what is the culture and the attitude towards students? What's that all about? Not forcing someone to give a child breakfast, because after they get that breakfast at these cruel type of schools, that student still has to deal with those type of teachers throughout their entire educational career. With that, I pass.
I can say from experience that I have witnessed some of these cruel schools that don't allow me to take breakfast to class whenever, like my hardworking mother, whenever she was taking me to school, I know she always had to rush around me and my other siblings, and sometimes I didn't always get to school on time. So whenever I got to school and I wasn't allowed to just eat breakfast and, just fill up my stomach and stuff, it has an impact on my energy, and sometimes when I'm on low energy I can't concentrate. So in a way, it impacts my educational career too. So that's just all I have to say.
And to Mr. Hatchett's point, me personally, I've never not been allowed to take breakfast to the classroom to eat. I've always been able to go to the classroom, eat breakfast, and while the teacher was instructed, was still going on with the lesson, and that helped because I was late. My bus, most times it was me not waking up on time, and I didn't set my alarm clock right or whatever the excuse was. And I was able to go into the cafeteria, grab my breakfast and eat, and everything, my energy started to perk up, and I was waking up more. So it did help. Thank you.
If I could just wrap up, we brought a copy of some bills that have been introduced in Indiana that put a stop to the gag orders on settlements so that we can get to some of the root cause
Ma'am,
issues.
we're going to take a roll call vote at this time.
All right,
We
I'm going
appreciate-
to hand this to somebody to pass around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We won't have any information passed around, but you can visit each individual member if you wish to
All
make
right.
an appointment.
I'll stand at the door if somebody doesn't mind picking these up from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Gentlemen, do you have any further comments?
No, ma'am. I just one thing I'd like to mention is that this problem has been exacerbated by the lack of bus drivers. I think that's been an issue that's caused this to be even more prominent. I think Representative Timoney could attest to that with his role, and I just think we need to make sure that this is. And I think, like one of the young men said, I think this is happening in most schools anyway. I think most schools are allowing students to do this. We just want to make sure that we confirm that it happens throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you.
Senator?
No, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second on the bill. Mariah, please call the roll.
Representative Baker? Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski?
Yes, because hungry children cannot learn.
Representative Decker?
Yes.
Representative Donahue?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Dossett? Yes. Representative Hart?
Yes.
Representative Koenig? Yes. Representative Lewis? Representative Massey?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miller? Yes. Representative Gibbons-Prenti?
Yes.
Representative Rayburn?
Yes.
Representative Riley?
Yes.
Representative Scott?
Yes.
Representative Timoney?
Briefly explain my vote.
Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a yes today. This is an outstanding bill. I support it 100%. Message to superintendents and school-based parents. There are nationwide programs, breakfast in the classroom, that have been adopted in a number of schools that have really helped facilitate this and really kind of answered a lot of the questions the people who previously presented had about feeding kids before the school day. But outstanding bill. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Representative Tipton?
May I briefly explain my yes vote, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I do support this legislation. I truly understand the importance of a child to get their day off right with a good breakfast. It saddens me that we have to have this bill. Why doesn't this be addressed at the school level? All I got to say, but I do support this bill.
Representative Weber?
Yes.
Representative White? Representative Wilner? Chair Huff?
Yes. Senate Bill 151 passes with expression of opinion that the same should pass. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam.
Members, before we adjourn, we will have a special called education meeting upon adjournment tomorrow in room 149, the room we are in currently. So please, we'll be sending out an agenda to you later. So please be aware of that and make sure you plan accordingly. Do we have any further questions, introductions, anything? To have a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned.